Almost, but it's a serious point. Exactly. Don't take a check, right? It's a serious point because I think a lot of people don't understand. It is about relationships. It's about being seen. Go to the pre-bid meeting. Yes, you may not get that particular RFP, but people are going to get to know you. As David points was saying, it is about relationships. And the final point I'd say is be creative. Sometimes our business is it's mature, but as you can see from Steve and myself and Denise, these are three pretty progressive treasures that we are looking for innovative ideas. And I would say the RFP is asking technical compliance, but you have to find a way to introduce that innovative angle. What is your core competency of your enterprise? What is your strategic vision? How can you be a value add? So I think that's really what I'm looking for when I read an RFP, is really making sure that we don't have to toss you out for a technical reason, and B, how can I see some of your business coming through and shining through that RFP?
Great, thank you very much. I'd now like to open it up to you, ladies and gentlemen, to pose your questions to the respective treasurers. Yes. Do we have a microphone?
Right here.
Hold on. 1 second, we have a microphone coming to you.
Good morning. My name is Ronald Williams, and I first of all want to thank the presentations that have been made today, the three of you in particular. Great presentations. You talked about access to capital, being able to be a bridge for us, and also it's about developing relationships. So I'm hoping that all of us in this room have a chance to develop a relationship with your organizations. When you look at the marketplace over the last several years, in the bond markets, equity markets, real estate, they've been really challenging. And I know that you have an asset class that is for alternatives. I'm kind of curious as to whether, in fact, you've looked at life settlements for one, and if you have, what are your thoughts about those? Because obviously I have interest there, but more important than that, they are non-correlated to the market conditions. So this is a chance for real opportunity to help balance your sheets in such a way that you can add value to the state and those who you represent.
I said my father was a pretty smart guy, but he also said, when you don't know the answer to a question, don't make one up. And I'm not sure I could qualify to answer that. I know when we invest funds and I am responsible, I do chair the pension board, which is $49 billion. We do have a significant investment in alternative investments. In fact, a third of our portfolio is alternative investments of one kind or another. Real estate, timber, et cetera. We do have an economically targeted investment program totaling something close to $290 million. So while we don't invest directly in individual companies, we invest through managers who in turn manage a portfolio. It's our belief that we don't want to be picking winners with the pension funds of state employees and teachers. We want to put our funds in the hands of qualified managers who have a diversified portfolio of assets, i.e. companies. So honestly, if the business model of the private equity firm that we're considering investing in, and we have 93 companies in our private equity bucket, it's about 10% of our pension assets, so about $4.8 billion, and that's leveraged buyout firms, it's venture capital, and it's distressed debt. So I can't tell you with that specific asset class, but I can tell you that if a firm that is minority owned, that has never had an opportunity to present to PRIM, which is our pension board, wants to come in and see them, I'll facilitate that conversation at any time. Again, first time in the door, happy to have you in. Second time through the door, got to earn your way in. And if the product that you're investing in, or if your particular niche in the marketplace is one that seems appropriate for us, and it seems like it's a good sustainable business model, I don't think we'd be averse to any asset class that is going to protect the assets of the pensioners, earn us a rate of return, and be in keeping with our standards. So if you have such a product or such a firm and you want to come in, just be in touch with me. I'll facilitate a meeting with our team at PRIM, and then you'll take it from there. At that point, it's up to you to earn the business.
And I would second that. I think that's exactly right. I mean, we don't, the assets under my management, the $1.5 billion, are pursuant to a cash management policy that we have. And I think, Steve, you have a cash management policy as well. So I would caution people, the only thing is that we're always looking for being creative, but as the state treasurer, the only way you can screw this gig up is to do one thing. Is you don't follow that cash management policy and you go invest in something that loses what? Taxpayer money. Nobody's going to hear how you thought that how you thought that as an idea was very creative. Taxpayers don't like that. They want to say, listen, your job is to watch it and make sure it's safe. So what we make sure that we obviously abide by that policy. So, as a general rule, treasurers focus on protection of principal first. So if you come in with some high yield, risky scheme, many of us can't invest in it because it's principal, liquidity, then yield. And the treasurers that often get in trouble are those who kind of reverse that order, do yield, liquidity, then principal. So that's the only cautionary words I'd say when we talk about, alternative investment vehicles, because obviously we have to make sure they line up with those three goals.
Final comment. The fund that I'm a licensee for has had an internal rate of return for the last 15 years of 12%. Additionally, it's the only public traded firm in this space.
And I think we would repeat, and because we do manage funds, you should be in touch with us and I'll facilitate. And Chip, although he doesn't manage the funds, he's on that board so he can facilitate the same kind of presentation. You go in with your A game and it makes sense for Delaware and it makes sense for Massachusetts. There's no reason why you can't do business, but we're going to leave it to the board that manages those funds to make that final call.
Additional questions? Right here. Oh, sorry.
I think your mic might be off.
Yeah, is your mic on, Kelly?
Good morning. Thanks for your presentations. I'm Kelly Chun. I have a public relations and marketing business based at Hibernian Hall here in Boston. It's an underserved area for those of you who are not from the local area. I have a question related to liquor licensing. One of the things that we're trying to do is make Roxbury an arts and cultural destination, and the access to liquor licensing has been a challenge to some of the proprietors in our community. So I'm wondering what Treasurer Grossman is, what your strategy is for increasing access and making it a more level playing field for the arts and entertainment, arts and cultural segment.
Well, clearly, arts and culture is something that's pretty close to me and to my family. Barbara, my wife, is a theater historian, professor of drama at Tufts, a director, as well as vice chair of the Mass Cultural Council. And I think often when we talk about economic development, we talk about certain industries, and we always tend to leave out the human services sector of the economy, which employs 185,000 people in Massachusetts. We leave out the cultural economy or the creative economy. That's a very vibrant source of jobs and economic growth. In fact, I'd venture to say of the people who came to Massachusetts and stayed here and are here for the quality of life, it is a lot about the cultural resources for your families and for your children. So we support that. Boston has its own licensing board, as you know, and they are responsible for liquor licenses in the city of Boston. I oversee the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, which is licenses statewide. So, I don't want to speak specifically about your particular challenge or need, but Kim Gainsborough, who's the head of the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, and she's also deputy treasurer, one of 5 deputy treasurers, would be happy to talk to you. So if you speak with Mary or Colin or Jesse, they can put you in touch with Kim Gainsborough at the ABCC, which is right down near Boston Garden. And if you want to go in and see her, she could probably advise you as to what our role and responsibility is at ABCC versus the city of Boston. So in general, we want to engender that kind of cultural explosion of excitement. I know Hibernian Hall. I was there the other night, 284 Dudley Street, right? 184, sorry. But I was there for Hubie Jones' retirement event the other night. It was a great, great event. So I know the area, and I know what you're trying to do in that area, and it's exciting and it's imaginative. And if we can be helpful in that, and if that's part of our responsibility, I promise you Kim Gainsborough will help you develop a creative strategy or send you to the right people who can.